The hanging tree, forest of the condemned. The forest stood beyond the town like a silent, brooding sentinel, its trees twisted and gnarled, their skeletal branches clawing at gray skies. Villagers whispered of it in fear, calling it the forest of the condemned. Beyond the edge of the last cultivated field, past the river that stank of rot and stagnant water, the ground darkened under a canopy so thick that sunlight never pierced its depths. And there the hanging tree waited. The tree was ancient, wider than any other in the forest, its bark blackened by centuries of storms and flame. Its limbs were vast, reaching outward like grasping arms, heavy ropes dangling from thick branches. Over the years, countless bodies had swung from its arms, their flesh rotting in the wind, their faces frozen in terror. Crows circled endlessly above, picking at eyes, gnawing at cheeks, and calling out as if mocking those who dared walk beneath its shadow. It was a place meant to terrify. The townsfolk never ventured into the forest without cause, and those who were condemned for murder, heresy, theft, or worse were dragged here with ropes around their wrists and mouths gagged against cries. They were paraded through the village as a warning, the fear in their eyes a lesson to all. The forest claimed all who defied the laws, and the hanging tree did not forgive. The path to the tree was lined with decay. Old bones poked through the soil like crooked teeth, animal corpses half-eaten by vermin. The smell of rot clung to the air, mingling with the damp scent of moss and wet bark. Every step brought a new horror. Rats scuttled between tangled roots, their fur matted with mud. Snakes slid silently over fallen leaves. The wind whispered like a chorus of the damned, carrying echoes of screams from decades past. Once, a thief had been caught stealing bread from the market. He had been dragged to the forest at dawn, his wrists bound and feet bleeding from the march. By noon, his body hung from a branch, his head tilted to one side, tongue protruding, flies already swarming. The villagers left offerings at the edge of the forest. Bread, coins, sometimes small toys, to appease the spirits of those who had died there. Mothers forbade children from venturing too close. Old men crossed themselves when the wind carried the faintest sound of rattling bones. It was not only criminals who found themselves at the hanging tree. Witches, heretics, and those accused of consorting with demons were brought here in chains, their fingers stiff from frost or fever. Priests would march behind, chanting prayers to drive the devil away, sprinkling holy water onto the roots, onto the bodies swinging in the wind. Sometimes it was said the condemned would cry out in tongues not their own,